So good evening, everybody. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you here today. And thank you for your support. The fact that you're here means a lot to me. It really means a lot to FFE and to all the people that work very hard to make FFE happen on a day-to-day basis. So I want to start by just telling a little bit of history around FFE, how it started. So as Jeff said, in 1990, we sold our company to Cadence. And all of a sudden, we realized as a family, we had more money than we knew what to do with. So the question that came up is, how are you going to spend it? So obviously, one thing you could do, just spend it on yourself, but that was not obvious as to how it could be done. And we said, what is the moral imperative over here? What are you going to do with this money? How are you going to spend it? And the answer after some thinking about it was, we're really not owners of this wealth. So what we realized was we're really custodians of this wealth, not owners. And why did we say custodians? Because you start to think back and you realize you come empty-handed into this world, you leave empty-handed, and whatever your duration is over here is the amount of time for which you hold onto your wealth. And when you're gone, it's not yours anymore. That's why we're custodians. And as custodians, what is your obligation? Your obligation is to have the maximum impact around you, to do the best for everyone that you can, because ultimately what you leave with is those are the things that you have done in your life that have helped others. There's only so much you can do for yourself. And I think it's in that spirit we decided that we had to make some commitment to ourselves that we had to do something with our wealth. And my wife and I, where is she? I don't see her now, but we noodled around a little bit and we figured that, thank her, because without her I could not have done that, both the company as well as this commitment. So we decided that we're going to make a transformational difference in the lives of 10,000 children in India. We didn't know how we were going to do it, but we knew it has to be a transformational difference, otherwise the impact was not measurable. And we said that in order to make sure that we deliver, we're going to make it public that we have that commitment. So when we had a little celebration with about 15, 20 friends of the Cadence acquisition, we made it public that this was our commitment. A year later, we moved to California, and in the process, we were thinking, how do we implement this commitment? And the thought that came was, maybe if we found the very bright but very poor children in India that were eligible to become engineers and doctors, but couldn't afford their education. And we funded their education through the college. Maybe that's the way we could make a transformation in their lives. Why? Because, if they become professionals, they become self-sufficient. And I think that was sufficiently transformational. So we socialized that idea with a number of people in the Bay Area, and fortunately, we found people that resonated with it very quickly. And we were able to form a team of about 5 or 10 people, along with a lot of seniors that were then working with the ICC who came on board as volunteers. And that's when the notion of the Foundation for Excellence was formed. And we actually funded our first scholar in India in 1994. So today, it's 28 years since we started this journey. And I have to tell you that sharing with others, the thing that I realized, that we realized, is the biggest source of happiness. You can consume anything you want, but the problem is that consumption lasts either a few seconds, a few minutes, or a few hours, and then it's over, right? Great food, great wine, jet setting, no matter what you call it, it's a temporary pleasure. But when you have helped somebody else, I can assure you, from our experience, that the pleasure is a lifetime worth of experience. And that's really what makes this something that is so exciting for us, so rewarding for us, and so blissful, if you will. So I want to share a few quotes that I came across recently that actually symbolize why one should give. Yes. So Chuck Feeney is a philanthropist that I had not heard about until last year. He's probably one of the most amazing philanthropists you'll ever hear about. He made $8 billion in wealth. And you know how much he kept for himself? 2 million. He gave away everything. And his principle was, give it away when you're living. You don't wait till you're dead. Because when you're dead, you're not the one that gets the benefit of having given it away. Somebody else does. So that's the reason why I think that's a very appropriate message. Let me take the next one. So what did Confucius say? And I discovered this also last year. He said, if you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. And if you want happiness for a lifetime, go help somebody else. It is really true, it works. And let's go to the third one. Again, this one also I discovered last year. So this is a famous Jewish philosopher from the Middle Ages, Maimonides. And what he says is there are 8 levels of charity. And he said the highest level of charity is when you help somebody so that he's dependent on somebody else. And when you think about what FFE does, we transform them from a situation where they completely become self-sufficient. Not only that, they're capable of helping others. So with that, thank you very much for listening to me. So I'd like to take this occasion to recognize and honor one of our most impactful donors. And that donation came last year. And I thought since we've had this gala after 3 years, it would be very appropriate to not miss this recognition for that donor. Unfortunately, the donor could not be here in person because that donor is not in great health, but we were able to get his daughter to come here and take the honor for him. Let me read you a little bit about him. His name is Goel. Mr. Goel was an electrical engineer by career and was involved in various philanthropic causes. He was instrumental in a large fundraising effort for a group of first-generation Indians in Allentown, Pennsylvania in 1980s. That's when not enough Indians were in the US, so he was helping the community preserve its cultural heritage as well. They built a Hindu temple from the ground up, and he was the first president of that temple. In India, he was one of the earliest supporters to the Dharamshala Cancer Center in New Delhi. He donated their first MRI machine to inaugurate the hospital. He continued on as a major fundraiser for them, and they recently honored him for 25 years of outstanding contribution in transforming the cancer scene in India. He's been very active with Rotary International and generating funds to provide computers and school supplies and medicines to schools and villages in India and Central America. One of his favorite projects was contributing to Baba Amte and his son Prakash Amte's organization to build hostels that allowed children in remote villages to attend school. You can see the theme of his life work, education and medicine. Through his donations to FFE, he's able to accomplish both of his favorite themes. Because we support education, we also support medicine through the medical students that we support. So I'll take the liberty of announcing what he gave us last year. I don't know if Mona, where is Mona? Do you mind if I? Thank you. He gave us a donation of $400,000. So we're very touched. Makes you very emotional, but that's the kind of a person he was. He is. So I'd like to introduce Mona, who's his daughter here. Mona, if you just raise your hand for a second. So my mom and she's a doctor, she's a pediatrician, and loves to work with children. Her mom and my mom were dear sisters. And her mom, my Masi, was a brilliant and well-loved pediatrician, and she's following in her footsteps as the owner and founder of Miracle Mile Pediatrics in Los Angeles. Go. And she's taken care of thousands of children and families in the Los Angeles area over the past 23 years. And it's obvious how much her patients love her. Why? The social media fans out there. She has the most positive reviews amongst her peers in Los Angeles, with almost 150 five-star reviews on Google Business and more than 80 on Yelp, and frequently appears in the top 10 best pediatricians in Los Angeles. She has won the Los Angeles Top Doc Award for Pediatrics 3 times in the past 4 years. She's a frequent medical guest on news radio and TV shows in Los Angeles. At various times in her career, she has been lecturing at UCLA School of Medicine, and she's been a part-time faculty member at the Cedars-Sinai Pediatric Department as well. So, with that, I'm sure you'd agree, this is an occasion that we must honor the Asnani family. So if I could please have her plaque.
Hello. Thank you, everyone. My father, Goel Asnani, would have loved to be here, but I'm honored to be here on his behalf. My dad has been a supporter and donor of Foundation for Excellence for more than a decade. Obviously, he knew about FFE through my super smart and kind cousin. You all know him as Dr. Prabhu Goel. I know him as Prabhakar Bhaiya. Obviously there are so many charities out there, so how do you choose? Which one is meaningful? For our family, for my dad especially, the unique, self-sustaining circle of giving philosophy that FFE has was very special. Also, we are confident that all of our donations are reaching their intended target. So I hope you join us in becoming supporters of FFE in the years to come. Thank you.